A nonpartisan watchdog group reveals White House senior advisor Ivanka Trump used her personal email account for government business. Remember when Hillary Clinton did that? Joining us now, former White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci. He is the author of the new book, Trump, the Blue-Collar President. Anthony, great to have you here in studio with us.
Allison read it cover to cover. I just want everybody to...
I can speak it chapter and verse. I actually committed it all to memory. But sadly, we're going to start with something else.
Right up there with the Bible, Allison.
Very similar.
Okay.
Ivanka Trump used personal email for government business. Oh, my goodness.
So, I mean, look, when I read that, I mean, my first reaction was, okay, so it's sort of a bipartisan issue, right? Both sides are using personal email for different things. And so you say to yourself, why are they doing that? And so I don't know the answer, but I think that these watchdogs and people should figure out why there's a proclivity on both sides to do that. And by the way, I heard what Mark said about it being hypocritical, and I think it'll be a great campaign talking point for Democrats to bring up the fact that she did do it.
Do you think it's hypocritical?
Well, certainly I think it's hypocritical. I think even Ivanka, if she was, interviewed about it, she'd have to say that it was a mistake. You can't do that in that position. But here's what I do know, and I was only in that position for a very short period of time. There had to be a reason why she was doing that. The same thing I would say about Secretary Clinton.
That's awfully generous now, Anthony, because you know that people chant lock her up about Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, no,
so now you're saying whoopsie daisy, it's just a mistake on both sides?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, I think it's a serious matter. I'm not making light of it. I'm just trying to say to you intellectually, Secretary Clinton, very smart person. Ivanka Trump, Kushner, very smart person. They both strategically did the same thing. I don't think they did it without intention. I mean, I think they just accidentally did it. So there has to be a reason for it. We have to figure out why people are doing that, and we have to figure out what the laws are around it.
You mean to tell me that
to address it.
After 2016, Ivanka Trump shouldn't have known that was a problem?
She probably knows that it's a problem, but she decided to do it anyway, and so why?
Okay. Well, here's what people said about the why when Hillary Clinton did it. The Clintons think they're above the law. Do the Trumps think they're above the law?
No, I don't think. I don't think Secretary Clinton thinks she's above the law, and I don't think the Trumps think that they're above the law.
But you remember that was a battle cry.
I do, but you're trying to hold me accountable for something that I don't have to be held accountable.
Of course not. Well, I'm not trying to hold you accountable, Anthony. I'm trying to see why your hair isn't on fire with the irony of all of this.
Oh, no, come on. My hair has been on fire for 10 years with all the irony. I mean, there's irony, hypocrisy, and I think this is one of the main reasons why the American people are so fed up with Washington. In general, the American people have a very low approval rating of Washington because they don't feel that these people are in touch with them. I was in London. I was in London last week.
Change that. I mean, just to be clear, Donald Trump was going to drain the swamp, and then they do exactly the same thing that they fought against in the campaign.
No, I would say in the case of the email thing, it's very similar. But I would say more broadly, the Trumps have actually dented that.
I'm talking about the email.
They've actually created some level of disruption in Washington, where I think the establishment probably doesn't realize it yet. But they've now opened the door for non-establishment people to enter into the system.
I think the establishment realizes there's been some disruption in Washington.
They still act like they're in denial about it.
I
think they shouldn't be in denial about it.
Listen, the news of the day is the
Let's stay on the emails.
Well, only because, Anthony, we devoted so much time to it during the campaign, and Donald Trump made it one of his signature battle cries of his campaign. What's he going to say now that his daughter has done the same thing?
We'll have to see what he says.
What do you think he should say?
Well, I think she probably should make a statement. She should probably say, if she did it, assuming that the watchdog is correct, she should probably make a statement. And then we should really understand why both sides are doing it. And we should figure out a way to either get both sides to stop doing it or to explain to the American people why both sides feel compelled to do it.
Probably laziness.
You think that's it?
Yeah. I think it's hard to set up a whole new email account. And by the way,
I think in Secretary Clinton's case, I think she was worried about certain, what do they call that? The Freedom of Information Act situation. She wanted certain things not to be
maybe Ivanka did also.
Maybe.
So
maybe.
What,
so I think
but that as the communications director,
I think that tells you that there's either a problem in the law, or they need to figure out a way to allow these people to have some kind of anonymity to their communication for purposes of affecting policy.
When President Trump shows up at his next political rally and the crowd chants, lock her up, what should he say to the crowd?
What do you want me to tell the president? You want me to tell the president not to say that? The president...
I want you to tell him...
Let me tell you something, okay? You're not going to be able to tell the president what to say and or do. I think we've established that over the last 4 or 5 years.
Should he shut down those calls now that his family has been exposed as having done the same thing?
I never liked that stuff. Okay, I think the president has some great policies and he's got some great ideas. When we move the conversation into that level of coarseness and we move that conversation into the personal ad hominem attacks, I think it's a very big turnoff for a lot of people. Let me say something, okay? Suburban white women, what was the vote count? Did you look at the exit polls?
I know that they didn't vote for President Trump.
They didn't. And so my message to the president is one of the reasons why they're tuning out is the coarseness of the rhetoric. If you want to win those voters like you did in 2016, I would dial back the coarseness of the rhetoric. I would dial back sentences like lock her up. I would
he should
dial
shut
back,
them down.
I would dial
back
the ad hominem attacks because I think what's happening is it's so aggressive and it's so hot, and it may be fine for politicos and people that are inside Washington, but it's not fine for people in suburban Long Island. They tune the thing out. They're like, okay, I don't like this anymore. They start to burn out, Allison.
I hear you. I want to ask you about something that you know well, that you were, in fact, were in charge of at the White House, and that is the press. So Jim Acosta of CNN, his press pass has been restored after it was revoked from the White House. But a judge said that he didn't have due process, and he restored it.
I could have told you that was going to happen.
So, and you think that's the right decision?
100%.
I assume. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
The White House, though, decided to come out with new rules for the press corps. Here they are. Reporters will get one question of the president or other official. In other words, no follow-up question. The president or the White House official can decide if a follow-up question is then allowed. A reporter must then yield the floor if they are not allowed to ask a follow-up question. They must surrender the microphone. Right. A press pass can be suspended or revoked for not following the rules. Here's what's funny about this, Anthony. No one in the press corps has agreed to these new rules. These have been unilaterally imposed.
Right.
Do you think this is the right decision from the White House?
So, no, I don't think it's the right decision from the White House, but I think there's something going on that needs to stop on both sides. And you're not going to agree with me on this, but I think that there is a level of decorum. Even if you don't like the president's bellicosity, you don't like his Twitter account, he is the president of the United States. You're inside his house, okay? If you're in the East Room of his home, I think there has to be, as my grandmother would say, and probably your grandmother, 2 wrongs do not make a right. And so you have to handle yourself a certain way, whether you like the president or dislike the president, or you need to show your colleagues that you don't like the president. You got to handle yourself in a certain way. Let me just finish. Yeah. As it relates to these rules, I think the White House is making a very big mistake because at the end of the day, the president had a masterful relationship with the press for 45 years. They should really look at the last 24 months and analyze why it's gone so badly and see if they can come up with a different strategy. The strategy of digging in and fighting and declaring war, I don't think it's a successful strategy. I think it's a 5 to 7% headwind on the president's approval rating. Now, he may disagree with me. He's president. I'm not. But I'm just giving you my opinion based on what I know of the press, based on my observation of the political discourse in our society, and based on the fact that I know that the president's done a very good job on the economy. He's done a very good job on a lot of national security things. And why not focus the gun on that bird as opposed to this sort of stuff?
Is part of it that the president likes having a foil? The president likes having a fight with the press. The president likes being able to call us nasty names.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. You know what? I mean, I wasn't in the White House that long, but I had a few conversations with the president about it where he was expressing some levels of frustration where, I mean, I think there was a Harvard study out, Allison, and don't quote me because I don't know the numbers exactly, but it was like 92% of the press is negative on the president or biased negatively. I don't remember the exact study, but it wasn't me. It was a Harvard study which looked pretty objective. I think that upsets the president. I think the president wants a fair shake from the press, but going about it this way is not going to get him what he wants because at the end of the day, a war declaration means both sides are armed up And every little microaggression blows out of proportion, like the Jim Acosta situation.
I do want to ask you about the president visiting troops in war zones, and as well as what he has said about some of our war heroes. You tweeted this out. Retired Admiral Bill McRaven is not someone you pick a fight with. That goes for terrorists, cancer, or politicians. Few in American public life are more competent or honorable.
Yeah.
So
He's a good man.
Why didn't President Trump
He's a good man.
Get that?
Well, because he's in President Trump's mind, he's now entered the political arena by being critical of his decision to remove John Brennan's security clearance. And so now once you're coming into the political arena, you're like a duck coming across the shooting gallery for the president. And so he feels if you're shooting at him, he's going to take a shot at you. And I understand that on one level, but I disagree with it on another level. And I would say to the president, you love the military. You may not love every single person in the military, but you love the military. And so out of respect for all of the military and all the veterans, let it go. I would say the same thing to the president on the intelligence agencies. You may have an issue with Mr. Clapper or Mr. Comey or Mr. Brennan, but let me tell you something. A lot of these intelligence agency people likely voted for you. You could have gotten a very high voter turnout from those people.